Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has hinted at possible changes in the country's military leadership. The development comes as protests erupted in Kyiv, with demonstrators demanding removal of the Commander-in-Chief after Zelensky's defense shake-up sparked outrage and calls for military reforms. Several hundred people gathered outside the presidential office for a third day after former Defense Minister Mykhailo Fedorov was not reappointed in a surprise government reshuffle. Known for pushing drone technology and military reforms, Fedorov was sacked earlier this week in a controversial government reshuffle. Protesters in Kyiv and other cities demanded his return and also called for changes in the army's top command.
Zelensky has nowhere to turn. If he doesn't listen to us, the protests will only grow and grow. People won't stop at just keeping Syrskyi in his position. We need changes at the highest levels of leadership, and that's why Zelensky must replace Syrskyi. What good is a general to the army if the military itself and the army itself don't trust him?
I think there's at least some indication that he's heard the people and seen their reaction, because Zelensky quickly began to respond and slightly adjust his statements toward change. That's why I believe these protests are having an effect.
The demonstrations came as Zelensky held meetings with military commanders, including Army Chief Oleksandr Syrskyi. The Ukrainian president said he had heard the public's concerns that decisions regarding the army will be taken. However, he provided little explanation for the reshuffle and said he had to step in since the rift between the army chief and former defense minister was so deep they will not sit at one table. The row comes after months of reported tensions between Fedorov and Syrskyi over military reforms and the management of the war against Russia.
Швидкість машини